Chiefs have flown. Hell is frozen over. The Saints are on their way to the Super Bowl.
4-3, game on the line. Williams lofting one for a doozy. He caught
it! You're listening to the world's #1 football podcast. Now, here are your hosts, Ben Hansen, Matt Hartman, and Ryan Matthews.
Welcome back to the Pigskin Project, where I thought we had a third host. I don't know what happened here. Did he remove himself? He did. Okay.
No, I'm here.
What's going on? All right. Welcome back. Week 3. We're gonna dive into a lot of stuff, man. A lot of stuff happened. But first, Matt, how you doing, man? Football.
I am doing great. This was the first time doing the prep this week that I was just like jazzed for the slate, both college and professionally. I think this is our best slate to date, and we've only had 3. But Ben, how are you doing? We just saw your face, by the way. Like chat, he turned off his camera.
Unbelievable.
You.
Yeah.
That's crazy. For those who know, they know that the camera will glitch out halfway through. So we're just not dealing with it. The camera goes off. It's awful. Other than camera malfunction and it just not working on a podcast where we all show our faces, I am doing fantastic. I'm excited to see, my Wolverines march into Lincoln and get the dub, but that's for later on in the podcast. Ryan, how you doing?
Good. The Cubs have officially clinched a playoff spot, and absolutely nothing else happened in Chicago in the past week. So that's cool. We don't have to talk about anything regarding anything football related in Chicago regarding that.
We talked about that on Monday.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's bad stuff. Yeah, we've got some injuries to kind of talk about. So if you're big on fantasy and stuff, you guys probably already know about this because they're really quick with that. However, Matt's got an injury report for you.
Yeah, I mean, the number one, Joe Burrow. We talked about it on Monday. Knew the severity of it. It was turf toe, likely out till September, and it gets confirmed he's going to IR with surgery. So Jake Browning just became important at work. It's ruining my life, if you know that tweet. But we move on. Justin Fields, Jets quarterback, is out this week with a concussion. Cooper Beebe for the Cowboys center, he is out 6 to 8 weeks with an ankle sprain. Jalen Johnson, the Bears corner, is likely out for the entire season with a groin injury. Steelers edge rusher Alex Highsmith has a high ankle sprain, but he won't go to IR. That's a man's man. Kyle Van Noy, the Ravens edge rusher, has a hamstring injury. Commanders quarterback Jaden Daniels has a sprained knee. His status is up in the air for Sunday. The Panthers lost 2 offensive linemen to IR injuries. Austin Corbett, their center, and Robert Hunt, their right guard. Vikings quarterback J.J. McCarthy is out 2 to 4 weeks with an ankle sprain. He is not going to IR. Aaron Jones has a hamstring injury. This happens every year. His yearly treatment going to IR for a hamstring injury. I swear this is just like copy and pasta every single year. And then the Chargers edge rusher Khalil Mack left the Raiders game with his arm in a sling. They're labeling it an elbow injury. He's going to go to IR.
Don't look at it. There's
the
a picture
Bucks
going around. Don't look at it.
Good God. Yeah.
The Bucks got decimated. Luke Gedeke is out multiple weeks with a foot injury. He's their right tackle. Elijah Cansey, their star interior defensive lineman, he's out for the year. And Cody Mock, their star interior offensive lineman, he's out for the year. And they're already missing Tristan Wirfs. They're already missing Chris Godwin. So major hits to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this week. And then these are all mentioned from the previous week. Nothing of like Wednesday injury reports is on here. So maybe there's a guy who didn't practice that I didn't mention because he could still practice and still play this week. So, but those guys are likely out for the future. But that's all the injuries. I don't know. Did I miss anything, gentlemen?
No,
I think you covered it.
You covered all the injuries there. Cowboys made two signings here. Well, signing an extension. They signed Jadeveon Clowney. We joked about that on the Monday episode. But then they also signed Tyler Smith, the very, very good guard, one of the best in the entire NFL, to a long-term extension, 4 years, $96 million, 81 guaranteed. That's kind of why you move on from a guy like Micah Parsons, because it allows you to go out and kind of extend these other guys. Again, not saying it's a good or bad move, but trading him allows you to, open up the doors to these other extensions that you wanted to get done in the first place.
Yep.
There you go.
Absolutely. We got some games to talk about. I think we should go ahead and dive into those. Gentlemen, which one do you guys want to go for first? The one that's first.
We always start with Thursday night football. Let's speed through this one, guys. The Dolphins won this matchup the first time with Mike McDaniel in 2022. They have lost the last 6, including a wild card playoff game. It's just, I have no read on this game whatsoever, and nor should I. Speaking from spread purposes, I think the Bills are going to win the game, obviously. But do you guys have anything to add on this one?
That over/under for point total is just ridiculous. That's just the first on the surface take that I have. I don't know, Ben.
No, again, it is something that me and Matt had joked about on the Monday episode. Like, how bad does this game have to be for them to be like, Mike, you're out of here? And again, I don't think it ever gets to that level of it being that bad. But it could. It could if Tua comes out and is really as bad as what he was week 1. He bounced back a little bit. So if you're a Dolphins fan, I think you go into this game expecting a loss, kind of know you're going to lose. Maybe you're pleasantly surprised. But the big thing is just hoping that Tua can continue to grow. We saw him take that step forward from week 1 to week 2. Can you take a step forward from week 2 to week 3? Ed Oliver and Matt Milano both won't be playing tomorrow, so that it's going to be a plus for him in terms of can he get something done on the offensive side of the football. And that's really more than anything what I'm worried about is can we see Tua take that step forward?
Yeah, I'm with you on everything that you said. The one thing that, it's way too early to think about this, right? For any team, but just to entertain the thought. I don't think that Mike McDaniel is somebody that's on the hot seat yet. Like, he's on the hot seat, don't get me wrong, but I'm saying like on the verge of being fired yet. Like, it's way too early in the season to do that. It's only week 3. I don't think that's something that's on the menu now. A 33-8 loss to the Colts in week 1 and then losing to the Patriots. And they put up more of a fight then. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they needed that bad. And you're going up against one of the toughest opponents in the AFC tomorrow night. And then it gets a little bit easier for the next 2 weeks after this one, in my opinion. They play the Jets, and right now they're starting quarterbacks in concussion protocol. And then they play the Panthers, and right now their starting quarterback has just been abysmal. Bad vibes in Carolina. So, to me, I'm thinking, okay, well, early November is the trade deadline. Do you think that Mike McDaniel makes it to at least early November? And if not, can the Dolphins be sellers? Can we look at Tyreek Hill potentially, making that rumored return to Kansas City? Or, is this even something that's considered? It's a weird place for the Dolphins right now. And with that all being said, I know we're all in, unison when we say this, but it's like this matchup is such a no-brainer. The spread's 11.5, minus 11.5 favorites for the Bills. It's crazy. It's what a Thursday night football game, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll say this. 2 bullet points I have, including my matchup. The Bills are number 2 in dropback EPA per play this season. The Dolphins on defense are far and away the 32nd ranked dropback defense, both in EPA and success rate. So again, 2-week sample size. I'll say that a lot with all the games of the week. 2-week sample size on all these efficiency metrics, so they might not mean anything. They may mean something with the Dolphins and the way they've looked. And then my matchup, the Dolphins through the first 2 weeks. How do the Dolphins win this game is kind of like the way I attack this. What would have to happen for them to win this game? And Ben mentioning Matt Milano and Ed Oliver being out for this game is already a plus. Because through the first 2 weeks, the Dolphins, even though Devon Achane only has 18 total carries, they have been a top 10 rush offense in both EPA and success rate. The Bills have been a bottom 10 rush defense in both of those metrics. Now they're missing their star interior linebacker and their star interior defensive lineman. So you think about what Miami can do, stressing your gaps, stressing your discipline, with the way they are just so quick and like getting to the edges. The guys that are going to have to replace those guys are uber young players like TJ Sanders and Deion Walker, the interior defensive lineman they drafted this year, are going to have to make a big impact in the run game in this game. So, I think the way the Dolphins win this game is by continuing to run the ball well, continuing to stay in the game. But again, with their defense, their drop back defense, is it going to get to a point where Buffalo's up 17-3 already and you've only had like 2 possessions in the game and you're like, well, we got to start throwing now. Like, we can't really run the ball anymore. So it'll be interesting to see, but that is all for Thursday night. Let's get into, let's go in order. Let's go with the big one in the nude slate. Rams, Eagles, playoff rematch, 2-0 versus 2-0 in the same conference. Of course, the Rams have added Devontae Adams to this equation since their last time they faced off in January. And Saquon Barkley is on a tear against this team, back-to-back 200-plus rush yard games, or scrimmage yard games, last season. Ryan, this was your game that you picked. Why did you pick it?
I'm really looking forward to the matchup that we're going to see between Puka Nacua and the secondary. Puka's been doing really, really good. Through 2 games, he's got 18 catches, which is the most in the league, and he ranks 4th in the league right now in receiving yards. Though the guy doesn't have any touchdowns, let me tell you, if you have him on your fantasy team, you know.
He has that big jet sweep rushing touchdown. Yeah, I mean, he has a rushing touchdown.
Receiving.
So, yeah.
Receiving touchdowns, no receiving touchdowns, but rushing touchdown, which is weird, right? But, you know, he's definitely just a stud in this offense, right? And I'm just looking forward to seeing exactly how they kind of defend a guy like this, because it's clear that this is the number one option. In week 1, I mean, you know, 10 catches, 11 targets, 130 yards. 8 catches, 9 targets in the Tennessee game just last week with 91 yards. So, and then that's when you get that rushing attempt where you get 1 carry for 45 yards and a touchdown. Like I said, the guy's just a stud. And I mean, I know the Eagles, it's been a really rough watch. Like, they're not playing the most beautiful game on the planet. Like, this is a very, you know, we're just gonna, what's Dan Campbell say? Eat at your kneecaps or something like that. Bite your kneecaps. They're just gonna win a game by any means necessary. And I'm sure Ben would tell you that's what you want, right? You want to win a game. It doesn't matter how pretty you win it. It's whether or not you have wins in that column. So, you know, in the end of the day, like, this team is really good, right? But the Rams put up a fight in that NFC Championship, and I know they've made a little bit of a change to this roster. I think they've gotten better, and I think that the Rams might be able to squeak one out. I don't know. This -3.5 spread, I hate it. I think this could come down to a 3-point game with as ugly of a game as the Eagles play. I'm not saying that it's an ineffective, bad game. I'm just saying it's a bad watch. You know, with AJ Brown finishing very low in receiving yards, I'm pounding the table as a fantasy owner. Can I get more production out of AJ Brown, please? You don't necessarily need it, though, in this offense when you have a guy like Saquon Barkley being extremely effective in this run game. And of course, and I mean, I've been explaining it's so many times to multiple family members, because they're like, why can't we just do the tush push when the Bears were down 4th and 1 on the Lions? I'm like, look at the way that they line up, right? It's so effective. it's mesmerizing in a way. There's a lot of complaints. I don't know if you guys have seen it, by the way, while we're on the topic of tush push.
Oh yeah,
where it's
about
like
them cheating and
they're like, oh, well, they're
started
all
every time.
Yeah, they false start every time, and then it's like, not to mention every, like every lineman's offsides, and then you look at the defensive lineman, like it's just as bad. Like it's such a gross play. It works every time. Like I get why people were wanting to kind of, ban it, but maybe there's a conversation to have there later. But this is a fun game that I think could be a fun watch. I don't know. I would have liked this one to be in like the afternoon slate instead of the noon slate. I'm talking, I think the Bears, for whatever reason, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, that's the game we want.
That's the game of a week, right? No, this one needs to be the game of the week, not played at the noon slate. This
Matt
one needs to be
Eberflus
played in the
return
afternoon.
home, baby.
Yeah, nobody wants to watch that right now. Nobody wants to watch it. So, it's going to be fun. These two teams are awesome, and I like to watch when they, match up every single time. So it's a must watch.
Yes.
Ben, what you got?
Yeah, really quickly on the tush push side of everything, I do think that Kansas City Chiefs game in week 2 that we just watched, it was the death of the tush push. Like for everyone that wanted it banned.
You know who killed it? It was Brady in the booth. Brady was miserable in the booth, dude.
Oh yeah.
Every time he was well, they're just gonna do this again. And you hear him groan to himself like it was.
Yeah, but so I do think week 2 marks what will be the end of the tush push. The Eagles will obviously run it throughout the rest of the season, but come the end of the season, I would be very shocked if it did not get banned after that, and the outrage that was all over the internet because Tyler Steen does not know how to sync up with the snap count. But outside of that, this game in particular, I'm picking the low-hanging fruit. Can we see Jalen Hurts finally start passing the football a little bit more efficiently? And can we see better schemes? I touched on it. It is Brian Johnson's schemes, the 2023. It is rough. It is hard to watch. It's literally just like curls and slants. Can we please draw some better stuff up? I'm not getting too worked up over it because this is the same exact way that we talked about Kellen the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season. But I would like to see Hurts take that step forward that I had talked about the entire offseason and actually throw the ball over the middle of the field, throw the ball, in the mid-range, the 10 to 20 range of the field, and see that start going. That Saquon can run for 150 yards on this team. We've seen it. He can totally do that, and I wouldn't be mad if he did do that. But can we get the passing offense to start going a little bit, better, firing on all cylinders there? And then Puka, get ready to be locked up in Guantanamo Bay. All right, buddy. Q
Taekwondo.
Look at the play. He was on the other side of the field. Q ran that play down. It wasn't even in his zone. He ran it down to try to make a play because Reed Blankenship just did not cover the deep man. But that's besides the point.
Yeah, Blankenship, he's terrible.
Yeah. Anyways, Q's following wide receivers this year. He's taking that step forward into like that QB1 status or CB1 status. So I think it's going to be a fun game. Can the Rams offense continue? Can the Rams run game offense take that step forward? Because that has kind of been a little bit of a sore point for them over, the first 2 weeks of the season. And if they can get that going, you can start mixing in that Puka, as Ryan had mentioned, and then you're really starting to get a good game. And that offense is really starting to fire together. So for me, it's really just a matter of what offense can find their groove quicker. The Eagles passing offense or the Rams running offense. And I think the team that can find that is going to be the team that wins this game. So,
yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, the Rams offense has been pretty balanced. You talk about their rush offense, it's fine. I'll be honest with you. But it is because they are mixing in Blake Corum a little bit more. He was very efficient in the red zone. They're top 12 in every offensive metric that I've mentioned. EPA and success rate both drop back, and rushing. The Eagles haven't. They're top 5 in both rush category, and they're barely squeaking top 20 in both passing category, as you mentioned. The difference has been explosives in the pass game. The Rams through 2 games have 7 passing explosives. The Eagles have 2. The Jahan Dotson 50-yarder week 1 and the Devontae Smith fade route that was underthrown, but it worked out. I know. Had to get my
For a reason, he draws the PI. You hate it. You got lucky. Yep. He was trying to draw the PI, and you would have lost it. You would have lost it.
And
as you should too. By
really
the way.
Good. And Devontae Smith is really good. And Trent McDuffie needs to locate the ball. But let's get into my matchup. My matchup is not Jalen Hurts' arm, it's his legs. In his career against the Rams, he has been pretty successful running the ball and, more importantly, scrambling. Here's the kicker. With the Rams, their drop-back defense is top 10 in both categories, and they are top 3 in rushing success rate, but their EPA is all the way down at 13th. You're probably asking, well, how is that? Generally, when you have a higher EPA in comparison to your success rate, it means you give up explosives. And explosives, how do you generate explosives in the run game? Well, having Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts' scrambling ability. That's how you do it. And the Eagles have, for the most part, kept drives alive the 2024 Chiefs way in a world where it's 3rd and 6 and Hurts goes and scrambles for 8. That was what he did against Dallas so, efficiently. So that's what I'm interested to see. We saw CJ Stroud have 2 10-plus scrambles against the Rams, and then we had Cam Ward get sacked 5 times and only have 1 scramble for 4 yards. So it's a mixed bag. We're only 2 weeks in. I'm interested to see how the Rams kind of handle this. Is it going to be a heavy box? Is it going to be a lot of, we are committing to stop Saquon and we're going to give up the stuff over, downfield because Hurts is showing, he doesn't want to throw it. I don't know if he wants to or it's just the limitations of the offense, as you mentioned, but it'll be interesting to find out, and someone's going to be 3-0 and really have a stranglehold on this conference with the Packers. So, all for that one. Let's keep it on the noon slate. Let's go to Ben's game. Texans and Jaguars, AFC South battle. The Texans face an 0-3 start as the back-to-back South champions, while Jacksonville looks to bounce back after a pretty ugly loss against Cincinnati in any way you slice it. They forced 3 turnovers on Drake Browning, who came in the game, didn't play a full 4 quarters. And then Jake Browning went on a 90-plus yard drive to win the game. And, of course, the drama with Brian Thomas Jr., Liam Cohen yelling at Trevor Lawrence from the sideline. Pretty interesting game, but let's swing it to Ben first because this was his game.
Yes, I mean, as we had discussed in the offseason, Lord knows who's going to win this division. And that's really why I picked this game. It is still so far up in the air. Again, the Colts are leading the division right now. Who would have thunk it? Definitely not us. So I really think that this could be a get-right game for either team and really set them on track to get a hold of the division, whether that is the 2-0 or the 0-2 Texans or the 1-1 Jaguars. That being said, as you said, Trevor Lawrence has struggled immensely to start the season, and it is not going to get any easier coming in here and playing against this Texans defense. It's going to be really, really fun to watch. Can we see the yips of Brian Thomas Jr. kind of fade away, or is this going to be an ongoing struggle that we see throughout the rest of the season? And again, I think when these two teams going into the season were viewed as the 2 best teams in the division, can either one of them take that step up on the other? Because come week 18, we might be looking back on week 3 and saying, well, that was the game that decided the division. And that's why I wanted to talk about this one.
I will say, if it weren't for Ben picking this game, like before I could pick my game, this would have been my game. With the Texans kind of, I mean, rough start. You know what I mean? Rough start for these guys. Fun defense, though, in my opinion. I mean, still, it's going to be. But, I mean, both teams, I would argue. I mean, again, this is another noon slate game, dude. Thank God for YouTube's multi-stream. Because, like, I mean, I'm gonna be watching this one along with the last one. It's gonna be so much fun, man. I don't know, these two quarterbacks going head to head. I mean, Trevor Lawrence. I mean, I know I've been critical of him before. It's still up and down for me. I mean, I don't know. Watching a Trevor Lawrence game for the first time this season for me, I'm excited for it, and it's a fun matchup.
Yeah, it's been by any metric you look at, it's been very up and down for each of these teams. If you looked at what Jacksonville compared to what Houston is doing, you would think Jacksonville is the back-to-back division champion. The Houston offense does not seem to be fixed. Their dropback EPA stuff, they're still 28th in dropback EPA and 22nd in success rate. Their rush EPA is 24th, and that's a lot swayed by a Nick Chubb 20-yard touchdown in crunch time. So, like, if you don't have that touchdown, those numbers are definitely swayed a little bit. And the Houston defense has not been as good as advertised, where Jacksonville, in anything you look at, like, they are a top 5 run game after being horrific last year. They are, by any metric you look at, a top 12 defense after being in Panthers and Dallas territory last year. So, again, it's 2 games of an efficiency metric, so you got to see more sample. But through 2 weeks, Jacksonville looks like the more, profound team in this division. Maybe not as much as, Indianapolis, but of these 2 teams, certainly they are the favorite. And then I talk about my matchup. Houston's offense on high leverage downs, which is, 3rd and 4th downs. Through 2 weeks, the Texans are the worst 3rd down team in football, and on 3rd and 4th downs, they are a combined 5 for 20 the first 2 weeks, and 25% is by far the worst in football. I don't have much doubt in their explosive ability. I think having a guy like Nico Collins and, Jaden Higgins was able to hit some explosives. They were even able to steal field position on the punt return from their rookie, Jalen Knoll. Like, they are still an explosive offense. It's just overall efficiency has been plummeting what they are this year. It's interesting to see. Like, I'm fascinated to see this team, like, 3rd and 5 from the 50, where it's like, we got to keep moving. We got to keep the chains going. We got to score points on this drive. Are they going to be able to stay on the field this game? Because the first 2 games against good defenses, the Rams and Bucks, they were not able to, and by any metric, the Jags are a good defense this year. So, do we have anything to add on that one? Or should we get to my game of the week?
I'm so glad that you had this as your game of the week. So I was so worried we were going to leave it out and try to, like, galaxy brain it and not talk about this last one.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the Lions versus the Ravens. 2 of the best offenses in football. Ravens are 2nd in total EPA, and the Lions are 5th, even after a miserable game against Green Bay. That's what playing the Bears defense will do for you. But you get into, the Ravens in 2 weeks. They have scored 40 in back-to-back weeks. They are the first team to do that since the 2024 Saints, juggernaut. And then someone has to blink in the takeaway department. Both of these 2 teams played, playoff contenders, Super Bowl contenders in week 1, in the Bills for the Ravens and the Packers for the Lions, and neither team was able to force a turnover. They forced 2, each of them, against the Browns and Bears, who are probably, picking in the top 10 this year. So, again, someone has to blink, someone has to take away the football, and kind of slow down these 2 offenses. But I'm going to swing it over to Ryan for this one.
Oh, I feel like you did this intentionally, you jerk. Yeah, this team, man, I don't know. Go Ravens with this one, man. I feel like the Bears suck more than the Lions are good. You know what I mean? That's where I'm at. Looking at the Lions schedule, that was one of the things I wanted to bring up. They've got the Ravens. I know the Browns that, after that, Bengals after that, those two are wins. But Chiefs, Bucks, Vikings, Commanders, Eagles, like that, it's a tough stretch. Like there's not a single team in the NFC North that has an easy schedule. So, Lions, I'm assuming for the next couple weeks after this one, you're going to be kind of eating up some rosters that's not necessarily the best. So I think that, there's going to be some kind of, idea of what we think the Lions are, but you're really going to see them out in that stretch that I'm talking about between the Chiefs, Bucks, Vikings, and Commanders and Eagles, that kind of expose who they are. I feel like we got a taste of them against the Packers, but that Packers team, man, they're scary good. I mean, got to tip my cap, kind of wave the white flag. Do we even have to show up on those couple Sundays? Who knows? But I prefer not to. But
3 weeks ago, they were the worst team in the North.
I don't like them, and that's old news. But to me, I'm just saying. I mean, Micah Parsons does a lot for a team. Okay, so screw you. But anyways, for the Lions
doesn't do it all.
For the Lions, man, it's I'm just deflated, man. I don't know. I don't even know what to think right now. It sucks. I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you what to think. I think the main thing to watch is again, picking the low-hanging fruit, is Jared Goff against this Ravens defense. We saw him struggle in week 1 against one of the better defenses in the Packers, throwing 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 225 yards, and then turning around and absolutely just taking, the belt to the Bears, throwing for 5 touchdowns, over 300 yards and whatnot. And it'll be interesting to see if week 2 was more similar to what we should expect from Jared Goff, or if week 2 was more of a byproduct of playing the Chicago Bears. And who knows? I mean, reality base is probably a little bit of both. Sorry, Ryan. So it's going to be interesting to see how Jared Goff continues to fare against these top-end defenses without a guy like Ben Johnson calling the shots. And that's, again, kind of my matchup. I don't know what Matt's going to say, but is the Lions passing offense against the Ravens passing defense. So,
yeah, my matchup. How dare you? How dare you talk about the Lions and not talk about their rush offense, Ben? That's what we're going to talk about. Lions, after an abysmal week 1 running the football, popped their EPA back up to 23rd and their success rate back up to 17th. The rush defense for the Ravens, 24th in EPA and 28th in success rate. So really gettable. And you have a game like why 52 points is able to happen and why 5 passing touchdowns is able to happen for Jared Goff is because of, well, Jahmyr Gibbs was able to hit, a 40-yard explosive on the ground, and David Montgomery was able to rush for 5 yards a carry on 10-plus carries. Like, that is what this team is rooted in being able to run through the interior of their offensive line and kind of pop it out to Gibbs when need be. But I'm just really fascinated to see if is week 1 just a mirage? Are we just going to add even more like stock to the Packers because the Lions are still going to be good, which I would agree with, or is it kind of going to be this sporadic, like maybe against the really, really good teams we can't run the ball, but against the lower level teams we can still run the ball at an impressive rate. And then again, I mean, I just want to see how the Lions pass rush fares against Lamar Jackson, because again, every game I'm going to be talking about this because it's Aiden Hutchinson and a lot of guys like Marcus Davenport, I think, got hurt while sacking somebody like on Sunday. I don't quote me on that, but I think that did happen. Al-Qadim Muhammad was getting in the mix. Like, of course, like their secondary pass rush, it looked pretty good against the Bears. it's hard to expect that against Baltimore, and sacking Lamar Jackson is really, really hard. That like people don't do
news.
that. And they have their ace in Aiden Hutchinson, who, hasn't really popped in a big way, but we'll see. I'm very excited for this game. This was easily the game of the week for me, and like you mentioned, Ben, we were not going to not talk about this game. I'll just say that.
Of course.
I will say this. The over-under with 52.5, I really hate that as well. I know I've mentioned that for a lot of these, but we're looking at these stats, right? And Matt, you're the king of EPA, right? The Lions ranked 25th in EPA per rush play, right? But they're second in EPA per pass play, which is just like fantastic, right?
Yep.
Looking at the other side of things, the Ravens at number 4 for EPA per pass play, and then number 4 for EPA per rush. So they're consistent across the board. And to me, like the Lions, after demolishing the Bears the way that they did, right, to still rank that low, I mean, we can't sit here and just be like, oh, well, they faced two tough opponents, or not too tough, but like they faced, one tough opponent, one not so tough opponent. And then, look at the Ravens. You know what I mean? They faced the Browns and they faced the Bills. Like, the way that they're able to kind of keep it consistent across the board, even against a team like the Bills, and, still after Derrick Henry finished with close to nothing for rushing stats. I mean, against the Browns, I'm saying. I mean, it's an interesting matchup regardless, especially because, I mean, if you guys watch that game for Gibbs and, Montgomery, it's not quite the same thing as it was with Ben Johnson. I feel like this offense, not just saying that because it's on screen right now, but, they have some work to do in that category, in my opinion. But, we'll see if they continue to progress, because they've got a lot of momentum after dropping 52 points. So,
all right, let's
Matt,
get
really quickly. I know I just have to do this. Going into the season, you're a big Rashad Bateman guy, and I'm so sorry. This is really like a battle of two evils for you. Would you prefer Terrion Arnold to just lock down Bateman, Terrion Arnold a known Matt guy? Or would you prefer Rashad Bateman to like pop off and prove you right?
I mean, it's Arnold. It's Arnold, because he's been terrible. He's played 20 games of football in his career. He is bad. And maybe he's just not a sticky man coverage corner that I thought he could be at this level. I still think his zone stuff is pretty good, but no, yes, for the most part, we need let's I would lean Arnold, but we'll find out. I bet Arnold travels. I bet Arnold travels with Flowers anyway, because they forge him by fire. They just send him at like number ones all the time. But let's get into something before we get into Pick'em. This was something I wanted to add. One of my favorite talking points of each season is talking about the teams who start slow or start extremely fast. So we're doing this. This is just on the fly. Optimist / pessimist. All right, so we're going to talk about some 0-2 teams, and then we're going to talk about some 2-0 teams. So let's talk about the 0-2 first, and sell me on being an optimist for any of these teams. 12% of 0-2 teams have made the playoffs, and only 3 of them, this is all in the Super Bowl era, only 3 of them have won the Super Bowl. And these are your 0-2 football teams: the Jets, Dolphins, Chiefs, Browns, Texans, Titans, Giants, Bears, Panthers, Saints. Gentlemen, minus the Chiefs, because that's not fair.
One of these things are not like the others.
There are 10 teams. Yeah, there are 10 teams, and 12% rounds to 1 out of 10, 10%. So one of these teams is likely going to make the playoffs. If I gave you you can't pick the Chiefs.
Easy.
What is the team here that you are optimistic turns around and makes the playoffs?
This is so
6 out of 10 of these teams are AFC teams. Just want to mention this right off the bat.
Yep.
So
you're correct.
Interesting.
let me sell you on my Houston Texans. All right.
Okay.
All right. You go out, and what's the big question? Let me ask you this. Through the first 2 weeks of watching the Houston Texans play football, what has been the big concern on the offense?
The offensive line.
The offensive line.
And running the football.
And that is all linked to your offensive line. And I am so glad that you said that. Because what did the Texans do in the draft this year? They went out and they drafted Deontay Ursery. Who's to say as the season goes on, and obviously the offensive line is a 5-man group, but who's to say as the season goes on, Deontay Ursery doesn't find his stride and gets used to the strength and physicality of the NFL? Because he's a big dude. He can handle it once he figures it out. Oh, and alongside that, let me tell you really quickly, they also have a top 10 quarterback in the NFL and a top 5 defense in the NFL. So all you need is a couple of the pieces on the offensive line to figure it out. We knew that going into the season. That's all you need. Deontay Ursery, come on, let's get used to the pace of play. Give CJ Stroud an extra half second in the pocket so he can get the ball out to the guys that you drafted in the second and third round, and Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel. Thank you very much. I think for me it is very, very easily the Texans because they have the pieces to get the job done. As you said, we've seen them do it over the past 2 years. Just get him another half second to get it done. Allow him to show you why we talked about CJ Stroud as a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. And if you can let him play like that, I don't think this is a hard question at all. And I think we're all going to be walking away and saying, really? We were that worried about the Houston Texans after week 2? How could we with the top 5 offense and CJ Stroud at quarterback? But I rest my case. It's the Houston Texans for me very, very easily.
I know what you're doing here, Matt. I know what you're doing here. I don't want to say my Bears, dude. I hate this team.
I will
right now.
I will.
Do it for me,
the
please.
Offense has been good. I think the offense has been fine. I think we're still in training wheels mode. I think we're in week 2. I trust Ben Johnson. The only every rush statistic, all right, I'm now Kyle Monungai because this offensive line is creating push for this run game, and DeAndre Swift, one of my least favorite players of all time because of his vision and his bounce back ability. I think he is overall limiting the offense in another way. I think Dennis Allen will figure out the defense. That's kind of where I'm at, where it's okay, I can't really flaw, I'm flawing the defense. Look at any of these teams. Any of these teams are going to have a major flaw that you're risking. You're making a risk on. And I think the other thing would be they play in just a loaded division. They still have Green Bay twice. They're already down 2 games. I get that. But if I am Mr. What I believe in how you get success in the NFL and how you make the playoffs is having explosive offensive ability. Why am I, of any of these teams on this list, even including the Chiefs, not going to pick the Bears because I believe in that philosophy?
Pardon my French here, ladies and gentlemen. You son of a bitch, I'm in. All right, here we go.
It was that easy, folks.
I can't believe I'm doing this right now.
If I wasn't going to pick the Bears, I cover your ears, Ben. I'd probably pick the Titans.
The Titans over the Texans.
Yeah.
The Texans have more pieces, and for the same reason that you probably would have picked the Titans.
I just don't think they figure out the offensive line.
Division.
It's me gambling on, I think, because the biggest problem has been the quarterback for the Titans, and I think more blame goes on the offensive line than the quarterback for the Texans. I just have more faith that you look at CJ Stroud started 0-2 in his rookie year and kind of over the course of that time figured it out. And I think just gambling on Campbell Ward being good is just, I'm willing to die on that hill at this point in time. And not just because of that one throw, but because of, like, he is setting himself up for success to me, where he's like, let's see if I can rip this seam ball. And if he can, he's going to know that he can do it. And if he can't do it, then he's going to know I probably shouldn't do that. It's probably bad that he made that throw in the red zone the other day, because now he is going to get an interception on something like that this year. But, yeah, Ryan, if you could not pick your Bears, who would you pick?
I probably would have gone with the Texans, so I want to go with the more entertaining option and just stick with the Bears just for now. Looking at this schedule, the Dallas Cowboys I don't think we're going to beat. Spoiler alert for next segment, I don't think we're going to beat, right? And they're
going to be 0-3.
It's going to be awful, right? Raiders, I think, are a beatable team. Commanders are a beatable team right now because Jaden Daniels could potentially be hurt. And regardless, he is not playing the best football right now compared to last season, which is crazy to say because the kid was a rookie. Saints up next after that, right? Then you've got a bye week in here somewhere, but I'm just going to go through the next few matchups.
It's like week 5.
Ravens, that's a loss for sure. Just don't even show up. Like, it's not worth it. Bengals, that's a win. Joe Burrow will not be back by that point. They already put him on IR early November. He's not going to be back at that point. Giants, good God, dumpster fire. I know that they just took the Cowboys to overtime, but like, this team is very beatable. With that being said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wins out of the next, 7 games is possible. Do I think it's something that's going to happen? Absolutely not. I'm being the most pessimistic I've probably ever been.
Any of these teams, you're gambling. Like, you're making a major gamble on you think this team would make the playoffs. I'm just doing this for the sole purpose of conversation because the odds are telling you one of these teams are going to make the playoffs, and I didn't want all 3 of us to say, well, the Chiefs are going to do it because they have, Patrick Mahomes on offense, and he'll figure it out, and they have Chris Jones and Trent McDuffie and a great defensive coordinator.
There's situations a lot of the time in the NFC where some weird 9-8 team makes it in, right? And I think that the Bears could potentially be one of them. Like I said, let's say that they somehow, by the grace of God, get 7 wins out of that stretch, right? You're telling me they can't get 2 wins out of the Vikings, Steelers, Eagles, Packers, Browns, Packers, 49ers, or Lions? I think that with how J.J. McCarthy plays, if they haven't benched him by then because cough, cough, Carson Wentz is here, I think that they could beat the Vikings. I think they could beat the Steelers, given the fact that the Steelers just they've played okay ball here. The Browns are the Browns. Like, 49ers are injury prone. Who knows if CMC is still on the field? Like, you know what I mean? And not to mention this, and to kind of throw something at you guys just for entertainment's sake, I brought up a specific team in a trade deadline earlier in the show tonight. I think that the Dolphins become sellers and the Bears make a trade for Devon Achane. I think that's what makes happen, or what happens, because like you said, the run game's opening up. It just sucks because DeAndre Swift is your running back and he can't see for anything. So if you go out there and you get a pass catching back like Swift was supposed to be, and you get somebody that can hit the hole, Devon Achane is your guy. He's young. He's got a few more years left on his contract, but his contract is going to be up before Caleb's. You'll have an answer before then. Spitballing here, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I'm saying, like, I said it's going to happen, but I don't mean it's going to happen. Like, it's a prospect of the idea of, like, listen, there's a Breece Hall out there. Who knows if the Jets want to pay him after this season? You know what I mean? Like, there's potential for growth there, and I think that in the scenario, the Bears can get their run game where it needs to be, and then figure out the defense. Like you said, Dennis Allen should hopefully soon. And I would say hopefully after the bye week, we'll have it somewhat ironed out, but that's the hope, right? Plus you haven't seen Kyler Gordon play much football. I know Jalen Johnson's out for the season, but TJ Edwards played like a half of football and then he was out for the rest of the game. Like, you get those guys healthy, those guys can be potential difference makers, but I don't know.
I should have known, including anything with the word Bears on it would turn into a propaganda segment. Let's get into the 2-0 teams.
I didn't like it.
Since 2007, at least one 2-0 team has missed the playoffs, and this is where we get into the pessimist part of it. Gentlemen, of these teams, who are you pessimistic on and you would predict to be the team to miss the playoffs? And
Ooh.
yeah, I think I have my team. Ryan. Oh, Ryan's he's
I
jumping
would
out
love
of his
to
seat.
go second.
Cardinals. That's my team to miss the playoffs. I don't feel like they're good enough right now, or they don't belong with these other teams on the screen right now. They beat the Panthers and they beat the Saints. Let's be real. Those teams are not good. Like who in that division too? You're telling me that they can compete? Like, I don't believe it. I don't see it yet. I don't see the vision. I'm getting that one out of the way. Ben, go for it.
Yeah, I think the other easy answer here would be the Colts. Because does Daniel Jones come back down to earth? Does he turn into the Giants' Daniel Jones? Does this offense start slowing down? So for that reason, I will say the Colts.
I want to add one more to the plate after Ben. Sorry.
That being said,
Take all my answers?
yeah. I would not at all be shocked nor surprised if that team ends up being my Philadelphia Eagles. Because we've seen...
Whoa!
Oh, we're doing this already. We're doing the Doomer gimmick already.
I don't think so. Again,
Did they ban the tush push mid-season? What happened?
The Doomer gimmick is already starting.
Let me... Okay. No. Oh, God, no.
Fire him. Fire him. Pitchforks at his house.
I'm going to continue to pick the Eagles to do it. I'm saying this is my more out there take, just like you did with the Bears, and I'm not picking the Eagles to do it. I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised based off of everything that had happened in 2023. You're coming off of a Super Bowl the year prior. You hire a offensive coordinator that has had no play calling experience in the history of the sport, whether that is at a high school level, whether that's at a college level, and definitely at an NFL level, and you crashed and burned throughout the season. And what did the Eagles turn around and do this offseason? They repeated the exact same thing that they did in 2023. Again, I'm not going to say it's happening. I'm sure as heck not going to pick it to happen. But we've seen this story before with the Eagles. Have we not? And that's not including their schedule. That is an absolute gauntlet of a schedule. And you barely made it out of a Cowboys team. And yeah, you beat the Chiefs. But their offense was abysmal. He has no one to throw the ball to. Your schedule is just going to get harder as the season goes on. And again, my worry is that it's just a repeat with the offense that we had saw in 2023. Again, not going to predict it to happen. I think it's going to be the Colts, Daniel Jones. He's going to slow down. I'm just saying, I think it's a possibility that it is the Eagles.
Matt, go for it. I don't want to steal your thunder.
Yeah, I can make a case for plenty. I can make a case for just everybody. I think everybody sucks all the time. I can make a case for the Chargers. The offensive line sputtering, just because I still am question marks about the interior, and Trey Pipkins is playing right tackle. I could make a case for the Bengals because the defense is just still bad. I can make a case for the Colts because the offense sputters. I can make a case for the Cardinals because obviously of the NFC teams, because again, there's four AFC and 6 NFC compared to the 0-2 teams. I can make a case for the Cardinals because they have the worst quarterback of the 6 NFC teams. I'm going to make the case for the Niners. I think the Niners would be the team that I would predict because if this follows the same kind of recipe as last year, what happened last year is already kind of happening this year. We're like part 1 of 2 for them last year. They got really injured last year and they lost their division games. They have a pretty big division game this week against the Cardinals. So for the Niners, I think it's if this injury luck continues to get out of control, and say you miss, a Bosa, hamstring injury, things like that. I'm not wish casting. I'm just saying those things out loud because they continue to pop up for this Niners team that I have a lot of hope in and I have a lot of belief in. But of these 10 teams that I'm like, just fear factor of it all, I think the Niners are probably one of the teams I think of first, just because I just watched them do it last year. It's kind of similar to Ben's Eagles point, where he just saw it happen 2 years ago as opposed to one. So
I want to throw the Bengals out there, just because Joe Burrow's hurt, obviously, low hanging fruit, but like their defense is still awful. And not to mention, I mean, we all were like, oh, this offense is so good, but what happens if you take one of those pieces away? And not to mention, in order for the Bengals to make the playoffs, obviously would have to be a wild card spot, in my opinion, because I don't see this team winning the division over the Ravens. And with that being said, the AFC South looks really, really good, and I don't see, an extra spot being, given to the Bengals because,
AFC South?
Did I say AFC South? I mean, what is it? AFC West, sorry.
Okay.
AFC West looks good. And I do think that I would probably prefer an AFC South team over the Bengals. I could see both the Texans and Jaguars making it, over the Bengals at that point. So, hot take, but whatever.
No, I get that. I mean, it's if you fade
It's week
the Cincinnati if you fade the Cincinnati Bengals defense in 2025, I don't think you should not get pitchforks at you. But that was all for optimist and pessimist. Let's get into the actual games. Let's actually pick some games, guys. Are you guys excited to pick some games?
Let's go.
Because it's Pigskin Pick'em time. Ryan should have all the records, correct?
Yes. Yeah. So last week, I'm sorry. We'll start at the top here. Ben went 12-4, Matt went 11-5, and I went 10-6. So all double digits for your boys. And then for the season so far, Ben is leading. He is 24-8 on his predictions. Matt is 20-12, and then I am just bringing the caboose here, I guess, 19-13. So not great
Fight
here
per second
for me,
right now.
but reigning champ and all, I'll make a comeback. It'll be fine. I think I made a comeback last season too. I don't know, pretty crazy stuff. But normally, if you're a longtime listener of the show, Ben just comes out of the gate on fire, and it's fine. And then your boy makes a pretty decent comeback towards, end of the season. So stay tuned because we've got a third person in here, and it's going to make things interesting. That being said, let's start with Thursday Night Football. What are we thinking? Dolphins, Bills. I think we're all on the same page, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll pick
Thank you.
Buffalo.
If you're gonna strong arm me into it.
Yeah.
I like 11 points though. That's just I'm king of that's too many points. I took the Browns last weekend.
Bengals, Vikings. What do you think, Matt?
Oh, you started with a hard one. Backup quarterback. First backup quarterback. I'm gonna take the better unit. I believe the Vikings defense. So give me the Vikings. And they're at home.
That's exactly where my head was at. Again, backup quarterback versus backup quarterback. They both have weapons on. They both have weapons on the offense. Tie goes to the defense, and world's better defense for the Vikings. I'm going Vikings.
Hey Ben, quick question for you. I was thinking about this. Sorry, Matt. How much of you is rooting for Carson Wentz this weekend?
I love Carson Wentz. I would love for Carson Wentz to revive his career in a KOC offense. I'd love it. I want.
Is it like a same situation? Is it like the same situation for me with Justin in New York?
I don't think to the same as what it is because I'm so far removed from that, and I do have my own actual real franchise quarterback, unlike the Bears. So I don't think it's as much, but I think a comparable thing.
Matt, what were you gonna say, man? I'm sorry.
The way you talk about JJ, could you imagine if people were like, hey, Tyson Bagent after 2 games of Caleb Williams was like, hey, he should probably start. Could you imagine that?
I'm living that life right now. What are we talking about?
But 2 games
Twitter's
in.
disgusting.
We're 2 games into JJ McCarthy.
Have you seen
JJ
Have you
McCarthy
seen
is such a funny case study because like he's the first rookie quarterback to ever have expectations. And I know he's not a rookie. He's a rookie. He is a rookie quarterback. He tore his meniscus last year. He did not practice with the team all of last year. He is a rookie. And like he has all these expectations on top of him, and yeah, he sucks. And he probably should suck because he's a rookie quarterback. So it's it's fascinating. And Ryan, I feel like I see it more from you because I see you on a day-to-day basis, but like just I feel like you're killing the kid, man. And could you imagine if this was kind of the world you lived in last year?
Dude,
have a heart.
Caleb's never been able to take a break, dude. I never want to hear that. No, I'm sorry. I'll be that guy.
You're telling me going into week 3, Bears fans were saying he needs to be benched and he's awful and he's the worst and should never play football ever again because he's so bad? No.
Yes, absolutely. I will double down on that. Because how many weeks did it take for him to throw his first passing touchdown? 3. In Indianapolis, he started at 3 weeks. 3 weeks. So if first week was against Tennessee, he went 14 for 29 with 93 passing yards and a 48.3% completion percentage.
Yeah,
next week, he had 23 for 37 and 174 yards with 2 interceptions. People were absolutely chomping at the bit to say, well, maybe Caleb isn't the guy and blah, 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 blah. I don't want to hear this sob story for this chump. This guy sucks.
Bench him and don't let him develop. No one said that. No one said he's done. He's tapped out. He should never play football again.
Okay. Am I saying that? Am I saying JJ McCarthy should never play football again? Hold on a minute.
Saying that
you're insinuating Wentz should start the season. You are insinuating.
I'm saying
it feels like that's the way you're pushing when you're doing some Wentz like you know what I'm saying. So that's
part of it is definitely because I'm rooting for Wentz because I'm rooting against JJ.
Okay.
But yeah,
I'm
absolutely rooting against JJ. I've hated him since he won the national championship and beat Ohio State. I know, that like the kid, I didn't like him as a draft prospect, and they drafted him way earlier than he should have been. I'll die on that hill, dude. I don't think he's that good at football. The dude handed the ball off in college. What did he ever do to make himself look as high of a draft pick as he was? He didn't. The guy sucked.
Never lost Ohio State. All right, let's move on.
Yes.
Texans and Jaguars.
Are you going?
Yes. Oh, Vikings, of course, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Of course, yes. Carson Wentz taking the job. Texans, Jaguars, Matt.
Give me the Jags.
Give me the Texans. CJ Stroud, Deontay Ursery.
Anyway. I like the impression.
What's with this Ursery love? He sucks.
Don't hit me with the what is with this ear, Deontay Ursery love. This goes back. This goes back like 10 months. This is not a surprise to anyone who would listen to.
I know.
Listen, I want to take the Jags.
Tackle job. So.
Yeah.
Listen, this will be the last week that I don't take the Jags in a toss-up if it goes the other way. So I'm taking the Texans, but I want to take the Jags, but I'm like, I don't know if I'm sold on them or not. So that's why I said that. Colts and Titans. Are we all on the same page here? Danny Dimes?
I'm taking Titans. That's my upset.
Ooh.
Oh. I'm taking shoot. Yeah, I'm going to take the Colts.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I've been chomping at the bit to fade this Colts team. I can't. And it's not like an attack on the Colts, but it's like, I mean, it's 2-0 at home. I watching Daniel Jones, I don't think it's sustainable for him to push the ball downfield the way they are. And the Titans in both categories rank top 15 in drop back EPA and success rates. So they got some guys. They got some guys. Watch out.
Anyway, sorry.
Raiders, Commanders. What are we doing?
Oh, this one's tough because is Jay Daniels actually going to play the game?
Yeah.
It doesn't look good. Commanders are winning.
Make yours, Ryan. I want to look up injury reports.
Upset pick of the week, Raiders winning.
Okay.
Jaden did not participate in practice.
Okay.
He has a knee injury, and reports are saying as of about an hour ago that they're going to be more cautious with this one.
Yeah. Give me Commanders.
Rams, Eagles. Ooh.
Ooh. This is my upset pick of the week.
Give me Eagles.
I'm taking the Rams.
All right,
Would you
so
look at that?
I'm the deciding factor here.
Yeah.
Rams house. All right.
I think it just takes a little bit longer for Jalen Hurts and this passing offense to find their pace, and this is definitely not the team that you can just sit back and just, do nothing.
Nah, I disagree. I'm taking the Eagles. Screw it.
No, would you look at that? How ironic is that? No, this is my upset pick of the week. So Rams.
All right. And then Falcons, Panthers.
God, do we have to watch this football game?
I'm taking Falcons.
Whoa.
Give me Falcons.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I'm not shocked that anyone is going Falcons besides Ryan there. Ryan's big. No
Bad vibes, dude. Bad vibes. Plus
Completely
Bijan might be the best player in the league. Who knows?
He's completely off.
Steelers, Patriots.
This is another one of these gross games. I don't want to.
Give me the better quarterback. Give me Drake May. What the hell?
That's what I'm saying. I don't want to
What are we
root for
talking
either
about?
team, but
It's not even close.
No. Give me the Steelers. Give me the Steelers.
Yeah, I'm going Patriots here as well. Packers, Browns. I'll just fill this in real quick. Jets, Buccaneers.
Bucks.
I mean, yeah, it's Bucks. Even if the Bucks are going to be down like 3 out of 5 offensive linemen, going from Fields to Tyrod Taylor with limited actual skill players, yeah, I'm just the Bucks they're gonna win.
Broncos, Chargers. I'm also going Bucks, by the way, but yeah, Broncos, Chargers. This is tough, man.
Give me the Chargers.
What are you picking?
I'll go Broncos.
All right, I'll go Chargers.
Swerve every pick.
Saints, Seahawks.
Give me Seahawks.
Yeah, give me the Seahawks.
Matt's over here like, I know who I'm picking, and it starts with the letter S. Cowboys, Bears. All right, across the board. Got that one. All right.
Bears.
Whoa. Bears.
Oh, really? Both of you?
Yeah.
Can I have a reason as to why, dude? I'm really hanging my head on this one.
No, I agree. I mean, it is everything that Matt had said in the earlier segment. I do think it's only a matter of time until someone eventually finds out a way. And it goes back to the same thing that we said when they traded Micah away. There's just not enough pieces along this defensive line that makes me scared. So give Caleb an extra second in the pocket to throw, and Ben Johnson's going to be cooking.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be ironic if this is the one that I get wrong?
Eberflus.
Yeah.
No.
You're back in Eberflus.
I hate it. I hate it. But I
Hashtag
know it.
membership
I know
bar.
this team. They're gonna make me miserable. I know it. Cardinals, Niners.
We're all fading our favorite teams this week.
Yeah.
I know.
Oof. Give me Cardinals.
Give me
They
the
won the game last year.
Niners.
I'm going Niners as well. Chiefs, Giants. Chiefs finally get their first win of the season, I assume, unless disaster strikes, right?
You guys got to look it up. What is it? Do you guys know who Don LaGreca is? He said
Yes.
the Giants, he's on sports radio, and he was screaming into a microphone. They're not gonna let the Chiefs lose this game. They're not gonna do it to the Giants of all people. And he just started.
Hey,
screaming
remember when
about
we
it.
had prime Russell Wilson show up for a drive in 2025? That was fun.
for a
For a
game?
drive?
For a game,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
Dude was just lobbing moon balls.
Dude,
Like,
yeah. Thanks. for
Malik
that.
Neighbors
Malik
go find the
Neighbors.
football, dude. He's
That was
so
awesome.
sick.
Lions, Ravens. Do we have to pick this game, dude? Can we just hope that everybody has fun?
Ravens, dude.
Pick a tie.
I'm riding with them, dude. The Ravens were my team going into the season in terms of like who I thought the best team was. And despite the loss, I still think they're probably the best team in the NFL. If John Harbaugh wasn't an absolute wuss, Ravens.
Give me Lions.
I knew it. I'm also going Ravens. So I had already filled in me and Ben. All right. So that does it for Pigskin Pick'em. We'll check in with you guys next week regarding our picks and our records. Ben with a little bit more risk this week. I like it. Anywho, speaking of risks, do it responsibly. Pigskin payout, baby. Ben, why don't you give us your parlay or picks of the week?
Oh yeah. Gladly. I will gladly start. For those who want to get ahead of betting and kind of get ahead and not wait until Friday, Saturday, or Sunday and actually wants to bet on the Sunday slate of games before the line changes, I will say DraftKings is better about getting those lines out sooner compared to FanDuel. It is just incredibly hard to find that on FanDuel. That being said, I got a 4 pick for you guys compared to my usual.
Talking like
3.
player stuff?
Yeah, player stuff.
Okay.
Yes. I have a 4 pick instead of a 3 pick. First off, give me the easy one. Give me Saquon Barkley anytime touchdown scorer because he does absolutely own this Rams team. Give me Matt Stafford and Justin Herbert, both over 200 passing yards. And then we're going to round it out with Tedero McMillan over 50 receiving yards. That gives you a nice little payout at plus 359. You're putting in $10, winning $45.
All right.
That's pretty good.
Matt, do you have yours?
Yeah, I'm almost done.
Okay.
I'm almost done.
I guess I'll go because the last 2 weeks I've picked touchdown scorers, and I know that's my thing. I'm the vibes guy, and I'm the anytime touchdown guy. So let's see. I'll go James Cook. I'm gonna go Bijan Robinson. No. Let me add what's his face? The MVP. Jesus.
What's his face?
Josh Allen?
Josh Allen, thank you. Jesus. It's been a long day. Bijan Robinson. And then who else? Because there's always going to be 4. I promise you there's going to be 4.
There's always 4.
CeeDee Lamb.
I think there's more than 4 touchdown scores.
Redo it. All right. Now that you haven't spit the whole thing back out in a clean slate with numbers.
James Cook and Josh Allen on Thursday night. Bijan Robinson and CeeDee Lamb. I don't think that they have the full odds out on FanDuel yet. Maybe they do. Hold on a minute, folks. We're not prepared tonight.
As
right.
Ryan and Matt is filling that out. Hold on.
It's parlays plus 646, so 10 wins you $64.
There you go. If you really wanted to ride with the boys at the Pigskin Project, if you wanted to take the 4 that I had said and really support us, you could always have fun with it and add NC State money line to my parlay that I had said. That line alone is at plus 145, and that would take your parlay from like the 358 that I told you and bump it all the way up to 1026. Sometimes you got to ride with the boys and support your boys there, but sorry.
Give me Titans plus the points. Give me Patriots money line. Give me Bears money line.
Ooh.
What's that bring you to?
Winners. I want some winners. 650.
There you go.
Isn't that crazy? I picked 4 touchdown scorers, and it's still got a better chance to hit than Bears money line, Patriots money line, and Titans plus points. That's crazy. All right. So that does it for Pigskin Payout in the professional side of things. So I'm going to go ahead and leave the professionals to what they do best and talk about college football. I am signing off on my side of things for the night. So enjoy the rest of your guys' week. I will talk to you guys next week. Gentlemen, have a good weekend. We'll talk soon.
See ya. There goes a caller from Chicago. An excellent slate of games to go and cover this week. But before we do all of that, we kind of have to do a nice little weekly recap and put a bow onto this past week. And this isn't so much of your weekly recap that we're going to start out here with. This has kind of come out over the last 2.5, 3 hours of us live recording this. The NCAA met today, and they all agreed to just absolutely abolish the spring transfer portal. They said, we're done with this. We're just going to do your typical transfer portal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, to be known, it says one-time transfer portal. That does not mean that players are just. It is not. It does not mean that players are now like they can only transfer one time. That's not what that means. I see a lot of people saying that. That's not what that means. It means there is only a January portal now. There is no longer a spring portal. That's what that means. I just want that to be known because that's very important.
Yes, exactly. Which I think is probably needed. I'm glad that we're just cutting down to the one-time portal. As I said, I thought I was picking up on what you were saying, but I was off. That does not exclude the transfer portal opening up for teams that had fired their head coaches. So let's say the season goes on and they say, wow, in March.
What happened at UCLA and Virginia?
Yeah. And they were like, gosh, Brett Venables blows. We should probably fire this guy. Then that 30-day transfer portal for everyone that plays for Oklahoma opens up. They can then still transfer out. So all that stays the same. As Matt said, the only thing that is changing is they're just abolishing that spring transfer portal. Again, I think it's probably the right move. Something we like to see, a step forward to what I think will be the right stuff to do when it comes to NIL and transfer. And that would have prevented Nico leaving in the first place to UCLA. And boy, does UCLA not have a good week. They lost 35-10 against the Lobos. But along with that, they kind of cleared out some of the coaching staff. The big one, obviously, being Deshaun Foster. Week 3, we had joked early on in the NFL segment of the podcast that, you don't fire a coach in week 3. And UCLA said, hold my beer. And they fired Deshaun Foster. A lot of mixed opinions out there. To be frank, I fall somewhere in the middle. I'm going to be kind of fence riding on that. UCLA we've had conversation about them being arguably the worst Power 4 school in football outside of Virginia Tech. So I understand from that movement, but firing your coach in the middle of the season, not even the middle, the beginning of the season, just never, ever, ever works out. Your thoughts on the Deshaun Foster firing?
I mean, it's 15 games in. He was hired on late after Chip Kelly, of course, left for Ohio State a year and a half ago. He always felt like he was this kind of, just placeholder for whatever is to come. Can someone else get in here? He was going to be a placeholder for a year, and then they get Nico, and they kind of like, well, we got him at quarterback, so maybe we could figure this thing out. Did they even want Nico? Nobody knows. I know that's been a rumor lately, is that maybe they didn't even want him because he sucks. I think they wanted him, but he does suck. So it's just it's its own little can of worms. But I think this is really bad. I think this is a really bad thing for them to do. And I'm also going to say Virginia Tech because guess what? The portal now opens for these players, and they can't play this year, but they can redshirt. So if there's any players on these rosters eligible for a redshirt, guess what? They're going to redshirt. They're going to make that decision to redshirt, and they will get their early portal access. Like, you look at, I'm kind of lumping in Virginia Tech here, Ben, but you look at
Brett
Aiden Green.
Fired as well.
You look at Aiden Green, who's a receiver at Virginia Tech, who's good. he still has an available red shirt. Like, he's what is it? I was listening. Like, he is from Knoxville, so like there is that like connection already. He is built like a Tennessee receiver. He's big, long, and fast. But just overall, like firing it this early, it was athletic directors who were embarrassed by their programs. Losing to Old Dominion and losing to New Mexico the way that they did, I understand the embarrassment, but you're going to like rosters are going to get gutted, and I'm very fascinated to see how the precedent is for this. Are these two programs going to get injuries during a season and not have available bodies? Like, I'm genuinely asking, because that is something to think about, because there could be a plenty of these kids that are just like deuces. Like, why would I stay? We're 0-3 and there's just no chance. Like, I'm going to burn a season on this? No way. Like, I'm not NFL caliber. Like, I want 4 years of college football if I'm like a freshman, something like that. Or if I'm a junior and it's like, I want 2 years of high level football left. Like, it's something to think about, and I'm fascinated to see how they happen. And then obviously everybody wants to talk about Nico Iamaleava, and is Nico gonna jump ship? Probably. Like, I would assume so, because like his track record says he will do it if need be. He's already been redshirted, so he can't like debate another redshirt. But I'd be it's hard because I don't know if there's any power program that's like chomping at the bit to get Nico Iamaleava anymore, because none of them were chomping at the bit to get Malachi Nelson. So why would you like? So I'm under this impression that like Nico might just not be good enough to start at another power program, and no team really takes that gamble on him. That's kind of where I fall. I don't know if you agree with that.
No, I absolutely agree. Again, I think he was in a quarterback friendly offense when he was with Heupel, and you transfer out because you wanted more money, and you go to an offense where you're actually asked to do things, and an offense that actually relies on
carry because I mean, that team is bad, man. Team is terrible.
Yes, and you're actually asked to do what you're getting, paid the big bucks for, and you just can't do it. And again, you outside of everything that happened with the NIL stuff, he has just looked bad. And then you factor all of that back into the equation. Again, I don't know if there's a Power 4 school, like you said, that would touch him with a 10-foot pole with the way he's played and all the off-the-field stuff. Yeah, it is. It's tough. And again, as you had said, Virginia Tech lost Old Dominion in a very embarrassing loss. Old Dominion ended up hanging 45 points on them. Brett Pry ended up getting fired as well, as you said. But those are kind of your firings and these weird losses. Speaking of a not so weird loss, if you listened to the episode last week, we told you guys to ride with Georgia Tech. We told you. We're looking smug now. Georgia Tech ends up beating Clemson. The offensive woes still continue. Cade Klubnik still looks bad. 207 yards, a touchdown, and interception. And the defense had no answer for Haynes King on the ground at all. I mean, Haynes King was the leading rusher the entire game, 25 carries, 103 yards, and a touchdown. And it's exactly what we had told you guys going into this game to begin with. They have the pieces, or at least what we thought they had the pieces for, and they just have not been able to put together a solid offense that can consistently move the ball down the field and hit big plays when they need it. And again, you lose this game, you lost your opener. It's just going to be an uphill battle if you even have the hopes at this point of making it to the college football playoffs. The flip side of that, Georgia Tech might be in the driver's seat of the ACC now. They took down the giant, the team that's owned the conference now, and you win out or you win, you lose one game, you're probably going to be that team that comes out of the ACC, and it's great. I love it. Haynes King is an absolute pleasure and joy to watch. But your thoughts while watching that game?
Yeah, my thoughts on the game itself. I mean, we said it going into it. Like, I just feel so comfortable about what Georgia Tech is on offense that I just what they are in grinding you into the dust. And it's like, hey, Haynes King, can you make a few throws here and there? And he does to, Eric Rivers down the right sideline. He hit an early crosser route that it's just like, man, like, didn't know you had that one in your bag. Like, some of the throws that he has, he continues to unlock. And it's one of those things that, like, we're getting into, like, yeah, he's probably not an NFL guy, but at, like, the college level and what you ask him to do, I don't think there's 5 quarterbacks that would take over him. Like, it's kind of nuts. And he's that good. They continue to, like, this was a team, I had this as my ACC championship. I had Georgia Tech winning this before we even, we did the playoff predictions. I think, didn't think Clemson would look at this bad. And, like, completely out on Clemson. I don't know, but you had them winning the championship, right? So, like, do you get a mulligan?
I'm gonna victory lap the Georgia Tech. I had Georgia Tech making the playoffs, so I'm gonna victory lap.
I will say, I will say, I'm like, the driver's seat of the ACC is it's still Miami's conference. It's still Miami's conference. And I'm going to swing that right into Miami pummeling South Florida. Wasn't close. Knew it wasn't going to be close. Should have taken an alt spread because I looked at it before the game. This is the best line of scrimmage team in the country, both offensive and defensive line. I think they're incredible through and through. The biggest thing was, how are they going to find receiver talent? Well, if they can grind you into the dust against, like, any of these teams, like, the only thing you need to watch out for is the Cristobal effect. And again, they're on a losing streak to Georgia Tech, if you're not mistaken. Not just the one they lost last year with Cam Ward being Superman and still losing, but Georgia Tech was the team that had the fumble. The fumble with no time left, and they could have kneeled it out. So, like, there's, like, yeah, maybe Ben's onto something, and it is Georgia Tech. But I'm still very high on what Miami could do. I think before the season, I was hesitant on, can they win the national championship? They were not. They were, like, kind of on that cutoff list. Them, Notre Dame, LSU were all on that cutoff list. They are by far the team that has kind of just hit on these transfer guys. Beck looks, there's something about being, football happy and just being, like, wanted for him that I think it's just he's got a jolt of confidence. Like, it's a confidence position. So Miami is the team to beat in the ACC, and I think we're well on a collision course for them in Florida State in like 3 weeks.
Oh yeah, it's going to be so much fun. And if Miami can continue to pass the ball, and that connection between Beck and Chaz Nimrod can continue to flourish, and they can continue to find those explosive plays between the two of them, I mean, you better watch out. You better watch out, because as you said, that was the big question with them going into the season. And in both games, when they needed to make a big play in the pass game, they were able to do that. So it's going to be fun. Talking about quarterback play, geez, what kind of radioactive spider bit DJ Lagway before this game? It was one of the games that we had talked about. One of the worst stat lines ever for any quarterback, let alone a quarterback that was as highly touted going into the season as DJ Lagway was. Throwing 5 interceptions in a game that you had to have. I mean, we all thought LSU was going to win. LSU had their own struggles finding, a way to move the ball down the field as they have early on in the season. But it is unacceptable. And how much longer can DJ continue to look like this before Billy Napier is the next coach that gets fired in the middle of the season? Because it is, again, 5 interceptions is unacceptable, and you will not win a game. I don't care who it is against. If you're throwing 5 interceptions, it's bad. And the fall off from where he was going into the season, people saying he's a top 5 quarterback in all of college football to where he is now, is unprecedented. And people want to spend their entire time talking about how bad Arch Manning looks when there's another second-year quarterback that is looking even worse than he is, who plays in the same conference as him.
No.
But
No.
I think DJ looks far worse, but that's
No.
regardless. But your thoughts on the game as a whole, DJ, Billy Napier?
Yeah, I mean, Napier's dead man walking at this point. I had believed that they were going to turn this around. I think he lost his job last week against South Florida. Just overall, and then you put yourself into a need to win spot at LSU. There's just no chance. And yeah, like you said, I mean, the interceptions, I think Lagway put too much on himself to make plays. And again, it looked like a guy who was spending spring and even fall camp in a boot and wasn't throwing to anybody. And we're just supposed to believe that it was all going to be okay because of the talent. Our bad. And then the LSU side of things, Brian Kelly, man. Did you see any of that? Brian Kelly
his post game.
He loses it on, and I get it. The LSU beat writer, I don't know his name, but like his instant reaction to beating Florida is like, why can't y'all run the ball? And Brian Kelly's immediately calling him spoiled and this and that. Guess what? Les Miles won a championship. Ed Orgeron won a championship. Nick Saban won a championship, all within their first 4 seasons. Brian Kelly's in his 4th season. This is a spoiled fan base. This is what you signed up for. And what that tells me is him reacting that way is it's bogging down on him. He knows this is the shot. He knows this is the opportunity, and it's kind of bogging down on him. They're still having troubles on offense. Again, like, running the football. They were last in the SEC last year. So, obviously, there's still that concern. And then the other concern is, like, Nussmeier played a fine game. Had a dumb throw over the middle of the field that just like, why are you ever throwing that? And but for the most part, like they leaned on Aaron Anderson when they needed to and won the game and kind of sprinted to the finish line. They get an FCS team this week, and then they get Ole Miss in what's that game called? I can't remember what that game. The Magnolia game, something like that. But they get Ole Miss in just a few weeks on the road in Oxford, and they lost in Oxford with Heisman Jaden Daniels. So we'll see. We'll see how that all works out.
Yeah. Kind of the flip side of this game, in a game with LSU and Florida that the offense could not get going, the absolute opposite of that, a still ranked now going into week 4, Notre Dame ends up dropping to an 0-2, losing to Texas A&M. First, in honest opinions, is Tyler Buchner will haunt this Notre Dame fan base forever. They hated him when he played. He left. He came back. And I don't want to say he was the reason that they lost this game because Notre Dame's defense was able to get Texas A&M in a hard position to walk off and win the game. But, man, you cannot fumble that snap on that hold at that point in the game. Again, there cannot be a single player that a fan base hates more than what Notre Dame is right now against Tyler Buchner. But outside of the ending of that game, again, this is just another one of those games that was an absolute treat to watch. There's another game we'll get into a second that also came down to kicking and whatnot. But they were going shot for shot the entire game. And both defenses, to be frank, looked quite bad. But we had talked about CJ Carr when he needed it, and they said, kid, go get him. He did it. He tried his darndest to put the team on his back and win that game, and you really could not ask much more from him besides a few error and dumb decisions that a freshman quarterback will always make. But that his defense just let him down Again, a whole lot of conversation about them still being ranked, even though they started 0-2. We had a whole conversation about the AP poll and all of that last week. You can go and find that if you so choose. But did you get a chance to watch this game, Matt?
Yeah, I did. I, of course, like, this took most of my attention away from LSU Florida. Again, I hated how much going into it I believe A&M could hang into this game, and they did. And they did it on the back of, their offense. And that offense was dynamic, man. Craver and Concepcion, just dynamic portal receivers. It looks like they've already hit on those guys the same way Miami has hit on their secondary. They've hit on their receivers. I believe they leaned on Le'Veon Moss a lot in this game, and then shout out Marcel Reed, sub 50% completion percentage, but he hit the explosives when he needed to. He's a mixed bag, and today, I mean, you still find a way to get 40 points. You don't apologize for that. So again, I mean, it comes down to extra points, and that's how they lose. I get why Notre Dame is ranked. Notre Dame would not be ranked if I ever did this, because we can't just do the loss is pretty, like, both losses are pretty good, but then you go into the win, like, well, what's their wins column? Not applicable. Like that, well, come
good.
on. Like, what are we doing? So I'm interested to see how they bounce back. Obviously the main question with Notre Dame is, I mean, if they go 10-2, are they in? And I'll just say with this season and looking like much more parity is on the horizon, I don't know, because I saw some takes that were like, well, Notre Dame had the same loss last year. Like, that loss last year was weighed by 2 and things like that. And I'm like, well, they were ranked like 17th in that poll. They're 24th in this one. And they don't really have like a Navy and Army on their schedule. They have Navy, but you get what I'm saying. Like, Navy's likely not going to be ranked for that game. The only ranked team they might face the rest of the year is USC at home, and USC is 25th right now. They still play Illinois soon. So it's like, there's a world where Notre Dame doesn't play a team with a number next to their name the rest of the year, and they only have 2, and they're both losses. So I don't know. I just don't think they control the pen. I think they could go 10-2, but I don't think that they are in the driver's seat as they would want to be.
No, exactly. On to another game that was an absolute shootout as well. Georgia versus Tennessee. Tennessee did have a chance to win this game on a walk-off field goal. The kicker wasn't necessarily even close to making it. He absolutely sailed that kick. And we had talked about it. How does Joey Aguilar come into this game while facing against, an actual formidable defense? And you look at the stats and you say, well, he passed for 371 yards and 4 touchdowns. I mean, there's 2 interceptions as well. And if you look at the stats, you're like, yeah, well, he played well. If you actually watch the game, the tape and the film will tell an absolute different story. He was on a tear in the first quarter, but as soon as Clemson was able to put pressure on him, I mean, he got giddy in the pocket. He felt rushed. He was feeling ghost pressure that wasn't there, causing him to miss easy throws over the middle of the field. And if it wasn't for Chris Braswell just being
different 2 times.
Yeah, twice, just having the best ball skills in America, turning into Megatron, and Chris Braswell, my fault, just absolutely just mossing folks, and then being able to then proceed and continue to work his way down the field after getting the ball over them, it would be a completely different story. Again, Joey Aguilar struggled in this game. Not to take away from how bad he looked, but let's be honest, most quarterbacks would in this situation. I mean, that's Georgia. It's Georgia's defense. It's Georgia's MO. So I don't want to knock the kid, too hard, because again, he put his team in a position to walk it off. They ended up not. In Tennessee's defense really, really struggled the entire game. Again, outside of that first quarter. But it was just an absolute SEC showdown and another very, very fun game to watch. But your thoughts on Gunnar Stockton, Joey Aguilar, the game as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, that was the best game of the year so far, obviously. You get the points, you get the big-time throws, you get the big-time plays, you get the atmosphere of it all. You get a missed kick from a college kicker because what do? They miss. But I took away just like, oh, Georgia can score now. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, everybody. And that makes me terrified as a Longhorn fan, especially when there's probably 10, 11 teams who can score better than the Longhorns right now. But specifically Georgia, because Georgia is the team that last year they were down. They were supposed to be down last year, and they still won the conference, and they still went to the Sugar Bowl. And they were a few plays away from that game of beating Notre Dame, who played for the national championship. So now you're telling me they got a Georgia quarterback again, a small white guy who just runs around and kind of makes throws when you ask him to, and they have that's the thing about Bobo is Bobo could scheme up Ladd McConkey and Bowers and all those talented freaks. He couldn't really put it all in the plate of the quarterback, Carson Beck, last year and figure it out. Now he's got, Zachariah Branch and he's got Dylan Bell back, who as a 5-touch guy is much better than being your number one. And then my favorite was Colby Young, man. Colby Young didn't play anything last year. He was their Miami transfer that a lot of hope last year, didn't play obviously, and now he's the guy. He's the number one guy. I knew that going into the game, that he is a star. He made some big time catches, and then of course London Humphreys in the end zone to tie or to go down 2, and then they tie it. But yeah, I mean that game was phenomenal. Had me on the edge of my seat while the other TV had Arch Manning do another curl.
And then finally, we can, don't have to spend as much time on this game. A game that definitely did not have people on the edges of their seat. Vandy beat South Carolina. Kind of the big thing from this game, Lenore Seller gets hurt, has to leave very, very early on. It's a fun little debate me and Matt actually got into. We knew the South Carolina team was bad. I understand that they were a top 15 ranked team, but we knew going into the season that they just did not have the roster to compete, even with Lenora Sellers. And then you take him out of the game, they just did not stand a chance. But Vandy gets their ranked win, and now they're a ranked team in their own right. So,
yeah, I just think 20 sucks. 20 is dumb. How many teams have 2, not 1, 2 24-point victories on the road against power conference opponents? I get it. Virginia Tech fired their coach. But, Lenore Sellers got hurt. You play the team in front of you. They beat the piss out of both of them. And we're supposed to believe they're 20. They should be ranked higher than Texas. They should be ranked
Yeah.
That's the thing. I mean, both, obviously Tennessee wasn't going to go down because everybody, nobody had watched Tennessee the first 2 weeks, and now they're watching Tennessee, and everybody's like, Tennessee's good, so they don't move. But, I would not hesitate. If I had a top 12, I think Georgia Tech and Vandy would be in my top 12 right now. If we're just basing on what we've seen on the field and the games that they have won, Georgia Tech beat Colorado, a Power 5 or Power 4 program on the road, and then beat Clemson, who, again, maybe Clemson's bad. And then you look at Vandy, who's beating 2 Power 4 programs on the road by 24 points. So it's just, but we will wait. All right, Vandy has 2 cupcakes these next 2 weeks, and October 4th we have a battle. All right, we have a battle with Vanderbilt in which they're going to be ranked higher than Alabama in Tuscaloosa. Just get ready for that, folks. October 4th, you're not going to want to miss it. Diego Pavia, he's going to do it again.
That'd be so much fun.
How many quarterbacks in the conference would you take over Pavia? I keep thinking about this to myself. Keep pondering over this. I know it's just not a fair question. to just like throw at you. But like I keep landing on like he's definitely top 3.
Oh yeah.
It's like the 3 I would take right now is Nuss, Mateer, Pavia. Like those are the 3. If we're looking at 3-game sample size and even like what they've done in their careers, those are the 3. But
it would be those 3. The only other one that I would argue is Lenore Sellers, but
I don't think
can't
you pass
right now, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I can't argue that right now. So yeah, I agree. I think he would be 3. I would flip Nuss and Mateer. Not a big fan of that one, I'm sure. But that's nonetheless. But we have a great week of college football coming up. A whole bunch of ranked matchups. 2 games that I have my own personal, vested interest in. But take it away.
Yeah, let's start with those. This is the game of the week, all right? Illinois is traveling to Bloomington to face Indiana. Indiana is 5.5-point favorites. This will be on NBC. Obviously, ESPN could not go to game day for that because, Florida's going to Miami. You remember, like, that one 1-2 Florida. But ESPN sold their souls to the SEC. I understand. I get it. But I digress. This is such a fun one. I think these coaches are this is like oil and water, I think, where it's like where Bielema, known troll, known fun guy, and then Cignetti, who's just like grumpy, and just mean all the time. This is good versus evil. If I had to say anything about it. But you look at Indiana. I mean, Indiana specifically. These are 2 programs in this conference that are bringing back tons and tons of talent. Like, I think Illinois is second to only Clemson bringing back returning starters, and Indiana is only bringing back, I think, like 9 or 10. But you look at the names of that, and it's D'Angelo Pons, it's Aiden Fisher, it's Michael Cabrera, it's Elijah Surratt. It's guys who are actually going to be higher level draft picks compared to the starters they lost last year. So this is shaping up to be like, I think everybody and their mother had it before the season where it was like this was a playoff, play-in game kind of thing like that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I heard that so many times. And now that we're here, it might genuinely be, because I think whoever wins this game is going to be ranked in the top 10. Illinois is already there, and Indiana 19. If they beat Illinois, they're going to jump up that high. And Cignetti, like, as much as I joke about, like, the guy wins in this spot. So I'm going to take Indiana to win this one, even if I would much rather have Luke Altmaier. I'm interested to see the game plan for Mendoza, because Mendoza, he did it with Cal. Like, he struggles with those, like, multi-pressure looks. I wonder if Bielema is saying, like, let's send 6 at him to kind of see what we're looking at. And just overall the Cignetti system of, that's what Ohio State did last year. And so it'll be interesting. But your thoughts?
I mean, this is Indiana's first, like, big test. They have played absolutely no one in
by design.
What?
By design.
By design. They have played absolutely no one in true Kurt Cignetti Indiana fashion. I mean, they played Old Dominion, but hey, Old Dominion proven they can beat a Power 4 school. And then they played Kansas State and Indiana State. So they just have not played, like, anyone that is even remotely close to being an actual good team. So to jump from where you've played to now having to play Illinois, a top 10 ranked team in the country, is going to be a hard test. I'm really, really interested, as you said, to see what Mendoza looks like when passing the football, because they've proven it last year. They've proven it through the first 3 games this year. It was up to Kurt. He would just run the football 100 times a game and turn around and hand it off to, Lee Beebe and be like, all right, this is what we're doing. But you're going to be forced to actually have to pass the football and hang in this game. And might I add, Curt Cignetti has never lost in Memorial Stadium.
Yep.
And I don't think he will. I don't think he'll lose again in this game. I think that streak continues. I'm going to take Indiana. I mean, what kind of Hoosier graduate would I be if I didn't? So we're riding with the Hoosiers. But again, as you said, there's major playoff implications in week 4 of college football. Very, very exciting stuff. So.
Yes. Let's move on to the Southeastern Conference. Ranked Auburn travels to Oklahoma, of course. The Jackson Arnold revenge game. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's buzzing about it. What do you got on this one?
I mean, you touched on the major point there. I mean, Can Jackson Arnold, continue to do what he's been doing for the first 3 weeks of the season and come in and give Oklahoma the big middle finger and say, like, F you? Given I don't care how well Jackson Arnold plays, they obviously made the clear and correct decision by going with Mateer. And on the flip side of that, I mean, if Mateer just continues doing what he's done, I don't think Oklahoma loses this game. But this, I think, will be the toughest offense that they have played all season long, and a good defense in their own right. I'm going to go with the Heisman favorite. I'm going to go Oklahoma and John Mateer. But again, just the storyline alone that's coming in with this game is going to make it well worth a watch.
I'm interested to see how Venables defends him. Is Venables going to be uber aggressive to really make him throw? Like, I feel like they have to pack the paint in a sense. Like, they got to, pack the box so they can't run the football the way they have. But at the same time, I don't think you can leave one-on-one with, Singleton and Cam Coleman. And I know Singleton is questionable, but I have to assume he's going to play.
Yeah.
So, again,
Please leave Cam Coleman one-on-one. I'm begging you, Venables. Do it and see what happens.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how, it's... I mean, this is I gotta see how locked in Jackson Arnold is for like a quarter. I think these big time spots last year, he just was zoned out. He was just not available for them, and that's why they went to Hawkins so quickly. But over the course of the last 6 games he's played outside of LSU last season for Oklahoma, he's won them. Like, he's been in these spots, so. I'm gonna take Auburn, obviously, because I'm a hater, but I think this one is going to be close. I think it's going to be played within the spread, just because I believe in Auburn's skill talent, and I believed in it before the season. So why would I stop now after what they were able to do to a Baylor front? But it'll be interesting to find out. And this is also a really good thing for Arnold that the sun is going to be out while this game is played. I think if this was at night. That really it would have an impact. I think Norman at night is a beast you got to fight. Let's go, if we're continuing to travel around the conferences, let's go to quite possibly the Big 12 game of the year. Texas Tech travels to Salt Lake City to face the Utah Utes. This one is at noon. Learned that today. Big Noon is going to be there. Good for them for going to the Big 12 but Texas Tech has played, I looked this up, the easiest schedule in the country. Yes. Utah has played one of the top 10 easiest schedules in the country. We don't know anything about these two teams. I'm going to take Utah, and I'm not going to try and decipher too much about it. I just want to watch them play football. I don't think I can really, hyperanalyze what either team has done through 3 weeks. No. To really figure that out. I just think that Utah, it's the same reason why I took them to win the Big 12, and I assume the same for you, is I just think they have the line of scrimmage talent to always be in these games, to always overwhelm these these kind of teams like Texas Tech, where just Tech is just not going to match you up front in the run game, and if they try, you're just going to bully them. They have 2 offensive tackles who are going to be drafted in the top 50 picks next year. Caleb Lomel and Spencer Fano. So, like, yeah, I'm taking Utah pretty easily. I think, like, within the 3.5 is tough. I mean, obviously you're playing within a field goal game, but this is a big one for each of these two teams to really get a stranglehold on the Big 12 after Arizona State's loss.
No, absolutely. And again, as you said, I think it comes down to that trench play, and it is the reason that I will be picking Utah as well. But this Texas Tech offense, again, the easiest schedule through the first 3 weeks of the season, but Morton has looked fantastic for them.
Mm-hmm.
And this offense, no one's been able to slow them down, again, given they haven't really played anyone that could slow anyone down. My grandma could play quarterback and they'd still win that game. But the offense has been a wagon. They've been able to find their run game. Morton's been able to pass the football at a very efficient level. And I don't know if the game, I'm going to push back. I think the game might be a little bit closer to what the spread actually says there. But again, I think Utah just has the talent along that offensive line to get the job done here.
All right. Let's go to the final. We're not going to have 5 this week. We're only going to have 4. Let's go to the final one. Let's talk about your Michigan Wolverines. So Sharon Moore, obviously, is not going to be present for this game. He was suspended. What was it? The minute the Central Michigan started, and then to the end of this one is the way I'm like under. So that's interesting. He was able to practice and kind of game plan Central Michigan, tee up some shots for Bryce Underwood. He has no involvement in this game. So I'm fascinated by that. I don't know how to feel about Michigan. I said, like, I feel pretty good to say, like, I don't think they're as good as Illinois or Indiana, and that's not just because of the number next to their name. It's because watching them play football. And I don't know much about Nebraska. Like, I think Nebraska and Michigan, this is worthy of a pick'em game. This is probably the game. I'm more excited to watch this one than the Auburn Oklahoma, if that makes sense. Just because I have more questions with Nebraska specifically. I think probably because I have stock in them to make the playoff, and I just want to see Raiola in some of these big time spots. But yeah, what are your thoughts on this one?
No, the big thing is the Sharon Moore not being able to coach, not be able to be at practice. Yeah. But to me, it doesn't bug me. I don't know if anyone knows anything about Biff, all right, the interim head coach.
Yeah,
man, do people love this guy? People want to play for him, and people want to fight for him. He is so much fun. Again, if you guys don't know much about him, before being at Michigan, and he's had stints on and off at Michigan. I think last place was Charlotte in his wonderful cutoff. But people really, really do want to play for him. But it's a coaching style within the game and how calls are being played and the freedom that he gives his coordinators that I'm really the most interested about. Given it was Central Michigan compared to Oklahoma, which is a very stark difference between the level of play. But they really let Bryce Underwood rip the ball down the field, and they listened to people. We hated it. Michigan fans came on here and were complaining and were upset, as they should, me being one of them, that the offense was stale. Everything was, parallel to the line of scrimmage. And, Biff and Chip Lindsey were like, okay, well, watch this. Let Bryce Underwood show why he was paid as much as he was. Let him rip the ball down the field. But more importantly than all of that, they were actually mixing in the QB run game last week. But just as we talked about the Oklahoma game, going into Norman and trying to play that game, it's going to be just as hard in Lincoln. I mean, Lincoln is just one of those underrated places that I just, people hear Nebraska and they just put it on the back burner and they're like, oh, it's Nebraska. Lincoln is one of the tougher places in all of college football to go into and play, regardless of if this team is ranked or not ranked. I mean, Nebraska football is the only thing that state has. They have nothing else. So those fans get behind the Cornhuskers and really root for them and make it a very hostile and difficult place to play. And can Bryce stay poised? And, again, I think he looked poised in Norman despite all of his flaws that the offense had. Can he stay poised while in Lincoln? And then on the flip side of this, Dylan Raiola has looked very, very good to start the season. Now, what is he going to look like against one of the top, I don't want to put a number on it, but one of the better defenses in all of college football against Michigan? And if he can continue to do what he was doing against Michigan, I don't think Michigan wins this game. And I really think it comes down to how he looks and how he handles everything that's going to get thrown at him by this Michigan defense. Again, just very, very exciting to see how both these quarterbacks play in the scheme that everyone draws up here.
I'm also excited to see more Bryce Underwood in the spot. Just see him play more. I feel like that's just a part that I want to mention. Like, I mean, in 4 weeks, we get him in 2 big-time road games, and, like, you still have the games upcoming on the schedule.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun. Pretty fun to see this kid in big-time spots, and then obviously Raiola and year 3 Matt Rule trying to take it. I'm taking Nebraska. Just take the home team. Take the team I got, priors on, as you do, especially with Notre Dame this year. But let's get into some notable games of the weekend. Ben, do you want to go first?
Yeah. The first one for me, again, I think both teams are considered unranked. But Washington versus Wazoo, just because of the two teams and kind of the history and the hatred that both teams harbor for one another. Washington is my version of your Nebraska, given I think they have a much easier matchup. But it's just a fun little rivalry game that they just decided to stick there in week 4, and I'm looking forward to it. Do you want me to go to my next one?
Yeah. Go through.
Okay, I didn't know if we were going back and forth. Just the other one I wanted to bring up was just another Big 12 matchup. That was ASU versus Baylor. At this point, K-State is out of it, but everything else is up in the air. Can ASU bounce back from everything that had happened at Mississippi State and said, no, we're taking back this conference and we will be the team that comes out? And if they can beat Baylor and set them right on the track, I think they can do that. But there's also a very, very real possibility that they go in there and lose, just like SMU did. So I'm just really interested to see how this ASU team responds to conference play. But those were my 2 big ones.
Yeah, I had a ton of them. I think this is a pretty solid weekend. I think the noon slate is a little weaker, but for the most part, I think there are some gems in here. I'm going to start with Tulane versus Ole Miss. Trinidad Chambliss, that's his name, from Ferris State, D2. He was incredible against Arkansas, stepped in for Austin Simmons at Ole Miss. Now they welcome Tulane, who is, are they now the front runner for the Group of 5 spot? I don't think so. I don't know. Like, again, they still face South Florida, but again, this is a spot for Tulane to kind of go in there and maybe they make a statement. Maybe Chambliss doesn't play as well as he did against Arkansas. We'll see there. The other notables, SMU and TCU, they're playing at noon. Again, this is just a rivalry. I'm going to go through the little rivalries here. I had both Pac-12 rivalries, Washington State, Oregon. Oregon State kind of hung with Oregon, I remember last year, and then like Dylan Gabriel had a 50-yard rushing touchdown, if I'm not mistaken. That was a weird game last year. It was one of those when Oregon was losing to Ohio or Idaho and struggling with Boise, and then they struggled with Oregon State, so everyone was like, the sky is falling, and then they go 13-0. But that was just something to mention. UNC is on the road at UCF. They are 7-point dogs. UCF is unanimously one of the worst teams in the conference. They're Oak State territory, and UNC is already 7-point dogs to that team. I think that's just Haha, makes me hearty chuckle. South Carolina, Mizzou. South Carolina might be without Sellers, might be with Sellers. He is questionable as of right now. And Mizzou might just be awesome. I think they are awesome. So we're going to see how awesome they are. And hopefully they don't trip up against South Carolina because they got some mighty games on the schedule. It'd be fun to see a 0 in their loss column before those. And then you get into game day. Game day goes to Florida and Miami. I think the biggest thing is does Florida have any fight left? Do they have any fight for this coach? I don't know. They did last year. I'm a little bit more hesitant this year, just because I think you're just slowly you're going down the ship quicker. But just like last year, his job was gone at the A&M game, and they find a way. And if you beat Miami, who I said on this podcast, I think is just now cracking that national championship circle, that does a lot for your, job security, I think. And then you mentioned Arizona State, Baylor. I don't have to mention it again, but just big week for the Big 12. That those 4 teams are all facing each other. Those might be the 4 best teams in the conference, plus TCU probably. Mm-hmm. If I had to, yeah. And so, just a big week for some of those teams. And then lastly, BYU and ECU. Those teams could score, man. ECU is a fun team this year. Don't like saying it. They can score with the best of them. And BYU making that trip all the way out to Greenville is pretty impressive. We'll see. We'll see how that one goes for the what is it? Is it Bear Bachmeier and the Cougs. So that is all for college football week 4. Ben, do we have any closing thoughts?
No. I mean, again, as I've said, early on into the season, just enjoy each and every week that we are given of this beautiful, beautiful game. And just sit back and watch football with some friends, and you'll be off and set to have a great weekend if you do that.
Good to hear. That's it for the podcast.
Oh, make sure you get your Dunkin' on Sunday, by the way. It's worked very, very well for my Philadelphia Eagles. Get your Dunkin' on Sunday. Not sponsored, by the way. So
one day we will.
One day.
Dunkin' is the spot. But you want to close us out?
No, yes. Thank you to our sponsors, Spotify for Podcasters, Regional Radio Sports, and Uppercuts Grooming. Make sure you guys tune in to the episode each and every week, live at 9:30 Eastern Time, 8:30 Central Time. And then every single Monday, we'll be putting out a recap show for the NFL. Make sure you guys tune out for that, and we will see you guys next week.